learned.
Yeah, I think that comes from a place of trying to understand the process and not having a defense response.
Right.
And it's like like you said before, when somebody presents a problem to you, do they need like an opinion, a solution?
You just need to hear, or do you want an actual solution?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Validation is important.
Validation, for sure.
That's very true. Especially as a guy, like a lot of men aren't very strong emotionally in their awareness to validate a woman's experiences and feelings, irrespective of what you think logically.
Or on the other side, men are more reluctant to share their feelings and emotions and what they really feel because they feel like they need to step up as men and not be so emotional. And a lot of men think that you can't lead if you're not emotional.
That was a problem for me and my marriage. My ex-wife liked to tell me all the time, like, I hate emotional man. I'm so glad you're not emotional. Oh, I'm so glad you're not soft like that. But deep down inside, I had emotions and feelings I wanted to express to her. But I never did it because she would make comments like, I hate emotional man.
Which was weaponizing against you.
Yeah. Because she perceived like you're not masculine, you're not macho or strong or protector if you're an emotional guy.
Wow.
And so I held on to all these emotions and feelings. So people are like, oh, why'd you cheat? That was just wrong. It's like, well, I had nowhere to take my feelings. Except outside my marriage. And that's what I decided to do.
Yeah, makes sense.
So episode 3, we talk about dating. What the dating scene is like after you've been married for 10 years.
It's a long time.
How's your dating life?
My dating life is great. Now it is.
It's thriving.
It's thriving. You know why? Because I put it out there what I don't like and what I want and what I do want. So all this dragging that happened on Instagram actually elevated my dating game. Because now I only have the qualified individuals.
Did you find a single man from St. Louis?
I definitely did. Ohio.
Shout out to Ohio.
Shout out to Ohio. Columbus, Ohio. He knows who he is.
What do you think were some of the challenges coming out of a marriage? You're a wife for 10 years, and now you're in the streets. What is that transition like from marriage to the streets? So I'm a little bit different because of what I was bringing to the streets. Okay. What'd you bring to the streets?
First I was bringing really just the elevation, right? And the glow. Like I was bringing the fact that I was an international best-selling author. I had sold my story to Hollywood. And a lot of guys aren't excited about me saying, "Oh yeah, I was married to the cartel." A lot of them are scared. Just like all of America.
You think you're gonna get
right. Like it's funny because we can't even mention the word cartel because everybody is conditioned to have fear. So the cartel's always doing his job, right? But everybody. So I always shared that because when I went out to try to date, at first I was like, let me not say anything. But then they would Google me and find out, and then they'd be like, oh my God, you didn't tell me all this. So then I was like, okay, I gotta switch my strategy and just put it out there. And you're either in it or you don't want to be in it. So giving them an option to continue any type of relationship with me. So for me, it was a little bit different, right? Because I had all this going into dating.
Yeah.
And I had the spotlight, right? So it was very difficult for me to hide everything that was out on Google and
the people look up.
Yeah.
We're not really going on like crazy internet searches to figure out.
Even when they started following me on IG, that's all they needed. And you know that, what's your IG? That's the first thing that comes out of everybody's mouth.
That's true.
So I wouldn't say anything. I would just let them simmer and kind of marinate in it and let them kind of say, hey, this is kind of crazy. This is kind of cool. Oh my God, kind of a big deal. So I think there was a lot of variables involved in my dating. But now everybody knows what I want and what I don't want.
That's true. You put it out there.
I put it out there.
You said a lot of people. You said you want somebody to teach crypto and marketing and money to you.
Right.
Now you're a liability to every relationship you're in.
Yeah. But now, if I show you guys my DMs, you'd be surprised. A lot of the guys that were talking shit were in my DMs.
That's always how it goes. When I made the comment that I'm not a black woman's black man, and black women were dragging me in the comments from understanding what I was actually saying. They're in my DMs like comments in my pictures, giving me compliments, or I didn't know this or that.
Yeah. Hey, daddy.
Goodbye. You know what I mean? So people are funny. Dating to me, going from marriage to the streets. It was a really tough transition, especially in the very beginning.
Yeah.
One of the things that I learned through therapy was a lot of the love that I have for my wife was still in my heart. And so when I jumped out into the dating scene, these women, the residue of love that I have for my wife poured out into these women I first met.
Wow.
So I would meet these girls on dating apps. I'm out and about, and we would form a connection, and they would feel all this energy that they wanted relationally.
Yeah.
And they would have this picture of a husband because I was pouring that out. That's what I was used to
for sure.
Years is being a husband.
You were wired.
I was. My thinking, my moving, my positioning. You know, and they received that love that I have for my wife is poured onto them. So they start forming emotional attachments to me. Whereas I'm like, girl, chill the fuck out. Like, I'm here for the vibe.
Right.
I'm not here for
but I guess it's how you were connecting with them.
I was being genuine. I was being genuine. But it was just like my heart wasn't ready to date at the time realistically. I think what happened is a lot of those end up getting hurt emotionally from you know me giving them something that just ended up taking away because I didn't really want it. But that's what I caught myself when I first went from divorce finalized to I'm out in these streets on these apps. And so a lot of girls caught that residue of love that I have for my wife.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's deep.
That's a lot.
It is.
So then episode 4, we take a turn, right? And we talk about toxic traits in our relationships. We had Jasmine and Jason on, right? And we started talking about the intricacies of how each person brings toxicity to a marriage.
For sure.
Unhealed energy. Yeah, we start talking about, you know, it's easy to talk about what your ex-husband did to you and how he betrayed you and kept this secret, this lie, put you in a compromising position, kids. It's another thing to step back and look and say, well, what did I contribute from a toxic standpoint?
I can answer that 100% was I didn't give him the space for him to be able to come to me earlier on. I think it got to the point where he couldn't take it anymore. Even our therapist said to him, "You're lying. There's something that you're holding back that you're not saying." So I think the therapist, me working at the DEA, really got him pushed him to the edge where he just had to say his truth. But he did mention I never gave him space for me to be able to listen to him so that he can come to me and tell me what was really going on. So maybe I'm a little firecracker.
You know, a lot of women say they want a man that's emotionally available. But then, do you think that a lot of women have the emotional IQ to deal with a man's feelings and emotions?
No. I think they don't. I think women like to say that they want a certain man, but then if they don't have the emotional intelligence to have that type of man, they can't handle that. You know, and then it comes down to loyalty and integrity, right? It's like you want something, but you can't even handle it because you can't even handle your own emotions. And a lot of women like to pour their emotional bandwidth or on their husbands or significant others. You'll make it better. You'll make me happy. You're gonna fix everything. And that's not how it should be.
No.
We all need to take accountability for our own emotions. So
and your partner is a supplement to the emotions that you already have cultivated within you, whether it's peace and happiness, joy. They're not your joy. They're happy.
Right.
But they come alongside to supplement the inner peace that you have, the inner happiness.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I feel like a man, like a lot of women say, like, I want a man that's emotionally available. But what comes with that is a man who's emotionally expressive. And so when a man comes to and expresses his emotions, you need, like you said, listen to him, validate his feelings, respect his feelings, not gaslight, like do the reverse.
Right. Yeah.
Because a lot of women aren't used to expressing their feelings because we aren't allowed to oftentimes. And it's a subconscious thing. It's a secret societal norm. But the other side of that coin of emotional availability.
Right. It's like what I said last time in the podcast. Men are raised to be strong and emotionally weak.
Facts.
So a lot of men worry about their physicality being physically strong, but they're emotionally weak and they can't deal with emotions.
Yeah, I could attest to that. I would say one of my insecurities. I never want to appear weak people. I always want to appear strong, like I got in order, on top of my business. Behind the scenes, I might be struggling like a bitch on something. But I'm not let you see it.
Right.
You know, so that's real. For me and my toxicity in my marriage was, obviously I admitted to having an affair within my marriage. But I was very disrespectful and verbally abusive to my wife. You know, I would say things to her, and I didn't realize the damage I was doing over and over and how it was hurting her. And I just thought, like, you know what? I mean, I said so many things, but it was the heat of the moment. And I really just brushed off how it hurt her feelings. You know, I never tended to the wounds that I caused in her heart. And I just let them go. You know, very emotionally negligent area. And enough was enough for her.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, definitely fucked up on that area. But we're learning.
Yes.
We're learning. So episode 5, we take a turn. Right. And that was our first episode.
It really did. It pissed off the beta boys. But you know what? The beta boys love me.
They do. They're beta. And so we got into some good topics. Once again, we revisited a lot of questions that came in about dating, cheating. We talked about open relationships, poly relationships. So kind of what are your thoughts around those types of topics that we talked about?
I think we pushed the envelope. I think a lot of men. Okay, so I'm gonna say the statement because a lot of people hear me in the back, right? So if I'm a woman and I make less than a man, and I want a man who makes more than me, I'm considered a gold digger. But if I'm a woman and makes her own money and wants somebody who makes more money than me, then I'm considered masculine. So it's like either way I lose. Because if I have my money, then I'm controlling the situation. But what I thought was interesting is a lot of beta boys were saying that I was going to get with somebody who's making more money than me, take their money and then leave them and go on to the next. Almost like a freaking snake in the grass. That was strangling you and then going on to the next.
Okay, you sent me the reel with Janet Jackson.
Yes.
Do you think that's pretty much the same thing? Like she came up on 200 million.
She came up on 200 million, and Janet, I love you. Yeah, I think there was circumstances there that played into her favor. But also, let's keep in mind that it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
So he knew what he was getting himself into. He knew she was a millionaire, billionaire. He knew that she had a platform. So I'm sure that there was also other things that he married her for. Perhaps he wanted more business on the U.S. side. Who knows? It could have been a lot of things.
He probably had an interest.
And they did have a prenuptial agreement. So a lot of people don't realize that prenuptial agreements are not a bad thing.
No.
They're there to secure your future and your spouse's future so that you guys don't end up broke. So a lot of people will say, oh, but that's not real love. I'm like, that is love. Love, that's self-love. Because you gotta secure your bag. And even though you're joining together, you can still have an agreement of if and when it doesn't work out, we're still taking care of you and I.
Oh, for sure. Look, I don't know if I'll ever get married again, but if I do, it will definitely be with a prenup. I mean, a prenup essentially is an insurance policy on your marriage. We insure every other valuable asset in our life.
That's exactly what it is.
We insure our health, our eyes, our dental, our cars, our houses.
Yep.
Just in case something bad happens, there's a policy that protects you.
Right.
But then we get married and we think, oh, I don't need to insure this because of love. And fuck out of here. Right. Sign the paper.
Yeah.
Sign the paper,
right
girl.
Here. Dotted line.
Yeah. Right
I'm with it.
On my terms, please.
Right. Wait till agreed on terms.
Yeah. We'll work that out on my terms.
Right.
No, that's true. So on that episode too, going 50-50, hot topic right now.
Oh my
God. Much conversation around this. And, it's really interesting to me. It's really when you hear people talk about how a relationship dynamic should work as far as contribution, financial or other provision, you really get to see, to me, how unfit people are for relationships.
Right.
And this is why your relationships aren't working, probably are not going to work, and why you're not in one.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Or why you stay in one.
True, too.
Right.
Yeah, because you're stuck in this cycle. If I'm being real as a guy, men will leverage money as power and control in a relationship.
Of course.
Like you said, if you make less money than a guy, then you're a gold digger for attaching yourself to him. That's coming from a mentality of like, a guy who makes more money than a woman, sometimes he thinks that his value and his worth to that relationship is based on the money and his financial contribution. Right. And if he can't provide financially more than her, he doesn't know what value or worth he has in a relationship.
Right.
And he might not get involved with that woman, but he'll attach himself to a woman who makes less because now he can do something for her.
Well, also he can control her.
Yeah,
like how people were saying about the McDonald's cutie or the Walmart cutie. She's going to be easier to control and manage because of the finances. Whereas a woman that has her own doesn't need to be controlled or baited, or held the carrot over her because she has her own.
Yeah. And the fear is like, where's she going to go if she leaves me?
Right.
Or some guys will try to inhibit advancement from their woman.
Right.
Like maybe she has a dream, a goal, an ambition.
Right.
And instead of supporting her in that, he kind of brings her down and talks discouragement into her.
Because and she remains still.
Yes. Because what if it works out and she does more than him or she's more successful?
I mean, that happened with me. As soon as I detached myself from him, I grew an empire. What I didn't create in 10 years with him, I created in 3 years divorced.
Yeah.
So
that's a great point. We're going to come back to that at the end.
Yeah.
That's a great point to talk about. So episode 6, we take another turn. And in episode 6, we, instead of untying knots, we started to talk about tying the knot.
Yeah.
And we had Desiree and Adam on, as well as our kids. And we were talking about marriage and wanted to give a look inside of a good marriage.
A healthy marriage that went through hell and back.
That went through challenges.
Right.
In a few short years.
Right.
They haven't been married 10 years.
They haven't.
They've been married, what 3-4 years?
Yeah.
So, and already went through.
But they overcame adversity big time.
And how they did it.
Yeah.
Working through conflict, which is such an important relationship skill is conflict resolution.
Conflict resolution.
You will have problems. You will have challenges. You will have issues.
And I think that's the number one thing into going into relationships is mastering your conflict resolution.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, to this day, me and my ex-wife were cool. We have a good co-parenting relationship and dynamic. But every now and again, it does come up, and I see why we can't be together because to this day we're still challenged with resolving conflict.
Yeah.
Like
and
we can have a disagreement. It could be a petty argument, and then it never gets resolved between us. Yeah. And we still haven't learned how to do it.
You go back to your ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is exactly why.
Right.
Shout out to her though. So, and then we had our kids on. We wanted to share the perspective of what our children's experience has been with going through divorce.
Yeah.
And how that's impacted them, right? Because it's a traumatic experience for everybody.
It really is.
It's the death of a family.
Yeah, it's a loss for sure.
So what did you think about what your kids said as far as?
I mean, they were spot on, right? They said us being apart was a better situation because we were both happy now. And then they get 2 Christmases, and of course they do. They get 2 birthday parties. They get 2 of everything. So it's like a kid's dream, right?
It is.
So, but listening to them say, we went from fighting to not fighting, and then our parents were happy apart. So they were able to understand that.
It's always sad for me that my kids recall the fights that we had in front of them. And they still have those memories, and they will talk about it.
Yeah.
And how those visuals have stuck with them through these years. And my daughter today says that she doesn't want to get married and she doesn't want to have kids because she said married people fight and kids are too much work.
Wow. See, my daughter says the opposite. She says she wants to get married and have kids.
Really? My daughter's like, not doing it.
Not doing it. Wow. Okay.
She says now she's 8, so we'll see. So that was an interesting conversation. I love the perspective from our normal. And then episode 7, we brought in the gang.
Episode 7 was a vibe for sure.
Yes, I probably personally one of my favorite episodes.
Me too.
Top two favorite episodes we did. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. We had a group of our friends with us of different perspectives, and we really talked a lot about relationship topics, dynamics, from different vantage points.
And preferences. Let's literally put this out there. Preferences. We all have preferences. Some of us are more lenient over sharing them. So don't crucify us for having preferences.
Got dragged on the internet for preferences. You know what I mean? For who you prefer and what you prefer. And people take it as a dejection of them.
I got dragged by the black girls, because apparently we're taking their men. So look, I just got a hot plate for them. That's it.
that was a wild comment.
I got a hot plate for them and a hot ass.
You knew what you were doing when you said that.
I did. I added fuel to the fire.
When I saw it on IG, I was like, Angelica. Here we go.
I mean, it's all facts.
I mean, for me, the statement that was made in episode 7 that kind of had a whole spark was the fact that I said that I'm not a black woman's black man, right? And so for me, what I'm saying is that I am attracted to black women. I think black women are beautiful. They're gorgeous. I live in Houston. I see black women all the time. from Target to
they're
Chapman and
gorgeous
Kirby
women,
to 5015 to just walking down the street. Like, oh my gosh.
If I was lesbian, I would only date black women.
The queens out here are serious business. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that a lot of times black women don't see me as a masculine, strong man.
Yeah.
Whether it's my physique, my personality, I've been told that I talk white,
your style,
that I'm interested in white adventures and activities. I don't want to do those things. It's not fun, or I seem like a pushover. I'm timid.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm any of those things, but I think a lot of times, generally speaking, black women look for a man that's rougher, has a harder exterior, probably more flash and more bravado than I have.
Yeah.
And they perceive those traits as masculine.
A little bit more hood.
And they go for those type of guys. Also, generally speaking, a lot in black culture in general, we're exposed to more entertainer type of successful people. We're not seeing
that makes
the
sense.
dentists and the engineers and the data analysis and the cybersecurity guys.
Yeah.
We're not really exposed to that. So the black men that are those things, are into anime and video games and cybersecurity or math, those black guys typically get passed over by black women. Mm-hmm. And they get picked up by white, Asian, and Latino women for the same qualities that black women rejected in them.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're going where you're being loved.
Well, for sure. But, you know, I've always given this example before. You know, I think of take a white woman that's like thicker. She's like 180 pounds, thick thighs, big butt.
Yeah.
Let's say she's attracted to white men. Like she likes Kyle and Chad, right?
Mm-hmm.
But typically, white guys aren't going for a white girl of her build,
even
though she likes them.
Right.
So she's probably going to get attention from black guys who like thicker women
right.
with ass eyes. Mm-hmm. So she's like, hey, I'm open to black guys too. It's not the fact she doesn't like the white guys. It's just the fact that black guys are giving her attention, and that's where she's going.
Because it's a preference of a black man.
It's a preference of what you like, but a preference of also who's choosing you.
Right.
Right.
But there's also choices. Like there is black men who only prefer Asian women.
Yeah.
Or for instance, myself, I only prefer black men.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not dating anything else but black men.
And it's not any black men. It's not like you're attracted to all black men.
Yes, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not attracted to the thuggish ruggish at all.
For sure. And so that's the things like black women are telling me like, oh, you said that you dress like an investment banker. I'm taking that every day over the guy that's wearing all the designer. And it's like, yeah, sure you are.
But also, you know, to the Latina perspective, us Latinas grow up in a home where we are taught to serve our men. Mm-hmm. It's part of our culture. It's something that we grew up with. Most Latina women also come from a two-parent household where the man was leading and the woman was taking care of the household, cooking, the cleaning, and all that. So we are raised in this environment. That's why whenever we go out into the dating world, we act as how we were shown. So cooking and treating your man, as soon as he gets home, he gets a hot plate, you know, being that woman, that's how we are raised. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the black community, again, I can't speak for it, but statistically, most of these women are coming from one-parent households. And the dynamic is different there. They see their mother struggling, they see their mother hustling, they see their mom having several jobs. And so they're brought up differently, where it's like a survival mechanism. And I'm not saying all, but statistically speaking.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. For me, because I come from an upper middle class black family, I have seen a lot of the black families that are two-parent household, you know, well-earning black families that don't go with the statistics and the status quo.
Right.
But I will say that in black culture, there's an emphasis on how a black man should treat his wife. There's not a lot of emphasis on how a woman should treat a man in black culture.
Okay.
So I think irrespective of your socioeconomic status, in black culture, the men are usually taught to open a door for her and to be a gentleman and to take care of the trash and cut the grass, you know what I mean? Like to kind of do the manly things for her. You don't find a lot of times that black women are being taught by their mothers and fathers to what to do for a man. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think I understand what you're saying, but there's a difference in culture as far as like how you're training the kids in your respective culture.
Yeah.
So hot topic, of course, date who you want, with who you want, love who you love. Don't care about what people say or think. There's nothing wrong with having a preference based on your experiences and what you like. Then here we are, episode 8 at the end. started our TikTok, got over 1 million views.
Yeah.
We hit USA Wire.
Yeah.
We have another article coming out with another publication.
Right. We're heading to Atlanta.
We're heading to Atlanta to the podcast summit. And then we have the Futurist Female conference coming up 12th. Too. So we have another big announcement too. So what do you have on the pipeline? What do you want?
So this one is a big announcement, and a lot of people. So okay, how do I word it? So I'm going to be going on an international tour with one of the most notorious drug dealers of all times. And I'm going to give you guys a little backstory on it. So obviously I came from the hood in Chicago. The Flores twins, they also grew up in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. We ran in the same circles. We had the same friends. And obviously they grew up in the cartel. They went one way, I went another. And so I met Jay Flores at a conference and we connected. And you know, for people that don't know about the Flores twins, you know, Google them. I'm sure a lot of the cartel people that are watching that are obsessed with cartel know who they are. So Jay and I decided to join forces, and we're going on an international tour to really give the perspective of the feds and the cartel at the same time for a bigger cause to make a difference.
What are the chances of that you guys come from the same place, we're in the same circles, didn't know each other, right?
Well, we did know each other.
Vaguely,
we grew up in the same neighborhood, so we knew of each other. When my friend was murdered, he was also aware of it. She was murdered by the cartel, and he grew up in the cartel.
Wow.
So he also didn't choose. He chose his destiny, but he grew up in it. So it was almost like it was part of him. But obviously, I went to the feds. He did what he did, and we met at a conference. Jay goes around the country giving law enforcement conferences, and we decided to partner up to really bring a different perspective and a different point of view from both sides.
And Joga, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. International tour.
Yeah.
Not just running through Texas, like you run across the map.
We are. And so, yeah, and I think a lot of people are saying, oh, she's capped, she doesn't know anything. And I think us partnering up is really solidifying our expertise.
Yeah.
So.
And the dynamic perspectives of hearing both sides of it, from Fed to cartel.
Yeah. So this is the first time that we say it on any platform that this is what we're doing.
I can't wait. Everybody definitely stay tuned. More updates on when and where this international tour will take place.
Yeah, it's kicking off at the end of this year. So
exciting.
We'll let you know the countries that we're hitting up.
Exciting.
It's going to be good.
Look, what do we have coming in from online?
So you can let them know to ask questions. We have about 3 viewers on TikTok.
Okay, if you guys have questions, definitely send them in. Everything is up for grabs. As we're getting those coming in, let's talk about our glow ups.
Yes.
It's something that we can't emphasize enough is our glow up.
Yeah, so you wanted to talk a little bit about this. So what I didn't create in 10 years married, I created in 3 years divorced. So what does that look like? So for all those women that have gone through hell and back in a handbasket, I would like to poster child of it. I literally obviously became a bestseller and then eventually sold my story to Hollywood to be done as a featured film with a spin-off series. But in the midst of that, I was asked to tell my story on big stages, ended up on Natasha Graciano's stage. She catapulted my speaking career. And then, of course, I was named executive producer of the project. And then during that, of course, I started creating digital products. So the first one being my Audible, I did my Audible of my book, and then I created a course from author to executive producer, literally spelling out how I did it, how I went from having a book to getting signed contract with Hollywood for my life story. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, learning digital marketing and, IG monetization, content creation, and engagement. And so all of those tools that we use, we're here now and we're blowing up. So.
Yeah. I mean, the glow up, I think, is probably the hardest thing, one of the hardest things to navigate after a divorce, because you're going through so much emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially. I mean, every part of you is being challenged and experiences a form of death in a way.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So to emerge from that, a new person, is serious work. You know?
Really is.
And so for me, like I said, when I first came out of my divorce, I hit the streets immediately because that was a coping mechanism for me. was I wanted to feel loved. I wanted to feel desired and wanted by a woman again because all the emotional hurt I just experienced.
Yeah.
But once I looked up one day and realized, like, man, like the void I'm trying to fill in my heart still exists after running through these girls. I was like, I really need to get real help.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was, finding a therapist, going through therapy, divorce care counseling.
Yeah, divorce care was clutch.
Yes, yes, I'm so serious, so serious.
I'll never forget when I walked in there and everybody was like, "Tell us your story," and I'm like, "Well, my disclaimer was my story will make your story. You'll feel better about your story." And I was like, I wish my story was he had slept with the Starbucks barista. I would have taken that.
Yeah, you should always tell your story last in these groups. Like never.
Yeah,
never
everybody left that room feeling really good about their divorce for sure.
They probably got back together with their ex. So you know what? You
For
really
sure.
didn't fuck me over.
Yeah, yeah.
You really could have did it worse.
For real.
But no, I highly recommend therapy as a black man to other men,
Yes.
especially men of color.
Yes, thank you.
You cannot take for granted your mental wellness. If you're not mentally well, no part of you is intact.
Yeah.
And everything else will be a struggle. And if you're ever going to achieve the fullness of your ambitions and who you're meant to be as the person,
Yeah.
it's going to require you to go and do the work that we suppress, that we keep down, that we bury, that we don't talk about, that our dads taught us to not ever express, that our girls tell us is weak. You have to find a safe outlet to be able to heal and to take
And
on
grow.
new practices to grow and be a better person, to be the man you're meant to be. And
Right.
therapy is
I mean,
that.
your quality of life will triple X by learning about yourself and learning about your intricacies in your mind and what you harbor that's holding you back.
Yeah. And therapy is expensive, right? And sometimes it's hard to find a good therapist that you connect with.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we did was we came together and we put together a divorce guide
Yeah.
and a glow up guide and a divorce ebook.
Yeah.
And so the divorce ebook is really about helping you navigate divorce, but the glow up guide is really designed to help people go to their next level after not just a divorce, a breakup, a relationship, or any type of
Yeah.
trauma.
Really a full-blown mental, spiritual, sexual metamorphosis.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we took what we had learned in our respective therapy sessions and divorce care counseling sessions, we brought those together and created the guide of things that we actually have done ourselves.
Yeah. It's actually my favorite digital product that we have.
To me, it's probably one of the most helpful.
Yeah,
Next to my workout plan that you can get in my stand store.
for sure. It's
Work on your
summer,
body,
get right.
work on your mind.
Right.
So
You look good, you feel good.
that's facts.
Right.
That's facts. So I definitely, therapy was a huge part of growing up for me, and the gym.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
it was our safe haven.
It
And it
was.
was our really it was our solace. For me, it was like the gym. I was mid competition when I was going through divorce.
yeah.
So yeah, that's what I poured myself into.
I used to be in the gym with so much emotion and hatred and anger, and I would
Yeah.
just be in there just pouring it out in like all these reps. I look up a few months later and people are like, yo, what happened to your body? Like, you've been in the gym. It's
but
like,
that's better
man,
than drugs or alcohol or
That's
sex.
how I learned
Yeah.
to cope. It's
Yeah.
like, man, I'm hitting these weights and I'm in there for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
It's a great
just,
addiction.
Yeah, going crazy. And so then I start eating clean and getting my sleep right, and
Yeah.
all those things play a role in your self-discovery and your healing.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that for us. I love that. Any question? Okay, people are just vibing out with us. That's
Yeah.
fine. Y'all could be nosy if you want to.
Well, I'm sure we'll get the shit talking in the comments.
They'll come.
Of course.
Well,
So what do we want to say about season 2? Season 2's coming up. It's gonna be a lot of controversial topics. So reach out for that. And then you want to talk about our dating?
we have a dating series
Show?
coming out on our YouTube platform that we're producing. More to come on that, but we are looking for people who are in Houston, Texas, men and women who are looking to date, who are looking to find love, find a relationship. If that's you, hit us up on Instagram or TikTok and send us a message, and we're going to send you the form so we can get you casted for our dating series.
Yeah.
That's going to be exciting. That's going to be a fun one.
It's gonna be
That's
about
going to be really good. You guys are going to like it. We got a twist
we're gonna
on it.
expose all the singles of Houston and what they have to bring.
We're
or,
gonna get
or
people
not
love.
bring.
Hey, if y'all get married, you gotta invite us to the wedding.
That's right.
That's without a doubt
That's
a
right.
non-negotiable.
We'll bring all our following to it.
We will. We will. Look, season 1 has been great. It's been such a ride. I was telling you pre-show that I remember we got this first season production through Cultivation Community Network and Jasmine and her great team here. And we won a competition. And we were doing our competition video. And we didn't even remember the name of our show.
Yeah.
In the first one. It was
Facts.
It was like, what's the name of the show? And we was like fumbling it. And here we are today with 1 million behind you.
Yes.
You know, so I want to encourage people with this is that none of what you see with us on Untying Knots would be possible if we would have stayed in our relationships.
Right.
And there's such a narrative around divorce that it's the worst thing that you can ever do, that it's dangerous for the kids and dangerous for your family. But literally, your book, your movie deal, your businesses, my businesses, our podcasts, the people we've been reaching and connecting with, the future opportunities that are on the horizon for us would never happen had we stayed in our marriages.
They were products of our divorce and our pain.
And they were meant to fulfill our purpose that we're fulfilling now.
Exactly.
So don't get tied in a toxic, unhealthy relationship for whatever reason. You have a purpose in life. You have a calling in life, and you need to step into that every single day. And if that relationship's not serving that purpose and that calling in your life, you should strongly consider doing what's best for you.
Yeah.
I highly, highly recommend it.
For sure.
So cheers to CCN for this first season, for everything that they've done for us. Thanks to all our guests that we had on this season.
Yeah.
Thanks to Reworks by Jay. He hooked us up with these designer bracelets that we're giving out to all our guests who joined us and our team here. Any other shout outs for you? Shout out to my mom.
Shout out to Mrs. Jones. We love you. She's been our #1 fan.
She is. She's my everything.
Sure. Yeah.
That's my girl.
But yeah, I think, what's to come is going to be great. And so here we are. So
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Season 2 on the way. YouTube dating series on the way. Catch us in Atlanta for the podcast summit. Catch us in Houston at the Futures Female Conference.
July 12th. Tickets are on sale. So hit us up.
Yes. And follow us on all social platforms as well as CCN Network. We'll catch y'all.
Bye. That was good.
That was fun.